I'm Reece Ihenacho. I am a discus thrower primarily at the University of Illinois. And so pretty much I just throw a metal plate super far. Looking to break the school record this year too. So really exciting things going on.
What's the school record right now?
It's 5880 something. I know if I throw 59 meters, I break it, but I'm looking to throw 60, be a top thrower in the NCAA this year.
I know you're kind of a part of college athletics during a time of a lot of like NIL deals and a lot of just brand deals in general. How has that kind of impacted you as an athlete so far and as a person?
Track and field, it's a little harder to get the publicity unless if you're like a world record holder or sort of like some big record holder. So I haven't been paying much attention to it. More money's getting into it now, from what I've seen though. Uh, but for me personally, it hasn't really affected me that much. It encouraged me to go out into the community more. So with the hot dog eating contest that I did for you guys, that was fun. I got to go interact with the community, which is nice. But otherwise, I mean, compared to like basketball and football players, NIL is more towards them than with track athletes.
Yeah, so going back to track and field, what made you want to pursue in this track?
I did basketball all my life. I was getting looks and offers for that, but then a lot of the schools I wanted to go through, the offers fell through. It was just at a point where, as a senior, I realized that getting a basketball scholarship's going to be hard. So I just decided, I was like, I'm already good at track. I'm already good throwing. Take it seriously. And then, yeah, I mean, here we are now.
And what does your journey look like while choosing schools at the end of high school, and how did you land on the University of Illinois?
Choosing schools was It was stressful, but I think it was a lot better than I thought it would be growing up, choosing what school I wanted to go to. My mom told me growing up that if I want to go to school, it's going to be on scholarship because I don't come from a place of a lot of money. With choosing schools coming my senior year, my top two were University of Iowa and Illinois. I had a couple other schools reach out, like Pitt or a couple of D2 schools as well. But I think it came down to really just what they had to offer me as a school. So like they have an athlete dining hall, or like our coach flies in chiropractors and masseuses for us to take care of our bodies and stuff like that. So it just came down to the facilities and what they had to offer me so I can pursue being like the best.
What did you know about NIL going into college? Because now they're offering it to high school athletes. What did you know about NIL during your time in high school?
Literally nothing. I mean, I knew some of the people, like there was a high school quarterback that went to Tennessee for a couple million, or like now there's like AJ Ibanasta going to BYU for a lot of money. So didn't really know a lot, but this journey has really taught us, the whole freshman athlete class, sort of more about NIL and sort of what to do.
Yeah, and I know NIL is such a widespread industry. What's like one product or maybe service or company that you really would help your training regimen or your performance regimen in general?
As an athlete, if I were to have any opportunity, it would be Nike. I'd say anything, any company that's sort of fitness or health related, because I'm big on mental health. Honestly, I wasn't in a great space earlier in my life. And so from there, I became big in mental health and trying to advocate for it a bit. And so any like health company, fitness company, any business like that would be really cool. But obviously, Nike is the big one.
So, talking about businesses, we know that you have your own clothing brand. Do you mind just describing what inspired you and what you do with the clothing brand?
Yeah, so my clothing brand is Spera, and it started at the end of senior year. I had a lot of goals last year, both on and off the track. So one of them was to just start a business, and I knew that just sitting around waiting for the perfect business wasn't going to happen. I was like, I like drawing, I like designing, and like clothes, I just had to do something to, because I wanted to learn the skills of running a business. And because down the road, I'm looking at opening a marketing agency, stuff like that. So I just needed to gain the skills. So I was like, let's just start it. And then I just started marketing it. And then a lot of people love it. They're returning customers. And so It's just taught me a lot about business. I love business, and that's why I'm studying it too.
I know the brand is kind of oriented towards a little more faith aspects and stuff that's kind of inspiring. What led you down that path, and what made you want to kind of pursue that in your clothing brand?
Yeah, so I'm Catholic. I mean, faith has been a big part of my life for a couple years now. I put faith at the center of everything I do pretty much. If people go to the track meets, they'll see me on my knees praying literally before every single throw. Before the meet, I pray the rosary. I like incorporating faith into everything. So, but my problem is people have a problem with Christians and how they sort of separate themselves from everybody else. So I wanted to make my clothing brand to be like the bridge. So they were faith-based designs, but they're also designs that spread messages that everyone would relate to, no matter whether you believed or not.
So with your clothing brand, have you been able to wear that during your meets or anything? Or have you given it to any other teammates?
No, I've given it to some teammates. I haven't worn it during any meets. I'm also a brand ambassador for a Christian band named Whole Strength. So this past indoor season, I was unattached because I'm redshirting indoor. My numbers just weren't competitive enough, so the coaches just thought it was best to use my red shirt for my indoor season. And so I wore my Whole Strength gear there because they're a bit more gym or like fitness based gear, so compression and stuff like that. Well, mine is more casual, sort of like you're going out, you can wear it.
Are there any projects on the horizon with your clothing brand that you're looking to kind of expand to in the future? Or any specific things that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so super down the road, I want to offer sort of like scholarships and sort of like charity events as well with the clothing brand. My clothing brand is mainly about the community. It's not really about the clothes. A lot of clothing brands nowadays are sort of about clothes or just selling, making cool designs, which respect to them, that's perfectly fine. Just my vision is more so building a community and helping others and sort of leaving an impact with the brand rather than just selling.
So, kind of changing the subject, for these upcoming track and field seasons, I know that you said you wanted to break the record and everything. How will you do that? How will you prepare yourself to break those records?
I think right now I'm sort of back in base training, so my lifting schedule is a lot higher reps, heavier weights. And then I see my trainer a lot. I actually have a list right now of outdoor season prep, I called it. And so it's just a bunch of stuff I need to work on, such as my shoulders, hip strength, mobility, core strength. It's just a bunch of things on a checklist that I'm trying to get ready for in the next couple months here. Our first meet is spring break. It's in March. I'm so locked into it and I'm ready to just make my body the best I can be, keep training every day. My practices have shifted from the weight throw focus to discus focused. So that's sort of nice as well. The world record holder in the discus is actually has his last year of eligibility this year. So I really want to compete on the same stage as him this year. So that's keeping me hungry and motivated.
If you were to reach that goal and break a world record or maybe reach a leaderboard, who's the first person you would call or text to let them know?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd probably say my mom. It's my mom or my high school coach. My high school coaches were the first people that really pushed me to be the best I can be in something. But then obviously my mom, it's my mom. You can't beat your mom. So I'd probably call my mom first.
So, talking about fans and supporters, how can people stay connected with you and your journey?
They can follow my Instagram, just Reece Ihenacho. I'm looking at possibly getting into YouTube, documenting, getting more of a niche community there as well. So a lot of things up and coming, especially with NIL, but Instagram would be the main way.
I know you've been a part of the NextName platform for a little bit of time now. What's one thing you've noticed so far that you've enjoyed, or one thing that you're looking to kind of expand to in the future, and any ways that we can help?
I think I like how NextName is so connected with the communities that they're in. It helps obviously businesses get their name out there by bringing athletes on campus. So, like for the hot dog eating contest, NextName brought us athletes and even like the legend athletes as well back to campus. I loved it before the game. So I just like how connected with they are to the community. And I'm looking forward to sort of getting to know more local businesses through Next Name as well.
What does NIL mean to you now that you've entered your first year of college and you've learned more about NIL? What does it mean to you?
I think what NIL means to me is just being out in the community and using your name, image, and likeness to sort of uplift your community. I feel like if you have a high NAL presence, it's sort of a responsibility to you to sort of be in the community, be a face, be a public figure, advocate for them. NIL, I feel like it's just another platform. It's not like an add-on or an addition or a perk. I feel like it's just another platform for you to be able to speak out for, like I said, your community.
And I know you briefly mentioned former athletes and legends. Are there any athletes in general that you've either talked to or that you revere and you want to strive towards being like them?
I'd say Nicholas Alekna is the world record holder in discus. And I want to be like him. He's really good at what he does. His craft is impeccable. He's very dedicated, but then he's always posting stuff about his brother and sister. His brother's another world class discus thrower, and then his sister's on the up and coming, which is really cool. So trying to be that family oriented while also still being at the level that he's at is really cool and inspiring.
What would you say is the difference between high school sports and college athletics?
For college, specifically in track and field as well, when you enter college, you're essentially starting your pro career if you haven't started it already in high school. I think that was the biggest shock to me was when I went to the U20 meet and it was sort of like my professional career starting because there's not like you go to college, then you go pro. A lot of the pros are in college. I think that's the biggest thing for track and field is like you're training and this is your career if you want actually want to pursue it. So you got to take it seriously.
What do you find the best way is to kind of balance the school workload and your professional workload with athletics?
School and athletics, it's hard. Our coaches preach that we're student first, then athlete. Unfortunately, in all honesty, I think every athlete would rather just be an athlete. But obviously, you got to get a good education because just in case if anything happens. But the best way I balance it is Google Calendar. I think so many people have seen my Google Calendar and they're like, "What do you have going on?" And it's just jam packed because I got to make sure I got everything in there. Otherwise, I won't get to it or I'll forget about it.
Is there like any reason why you chose Google Calendar instead of like writing it down or
I'm on my laptop already so much, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to my Google Calendar or my online calendar more often than like a planner or a calendar in person. I've tried it on like a whiteboard. I couldn't keep up with it because I wouldn't go to the whiteboard enough. So I just figured just eliminate one step. So I might as well just use it on my laptop.
Kind of a more random question. What's one song that gets you really hyped for a competition or a meet?
Oh, there's a few. It really depends. Recently, I've been in a classical music kick, and my teammates call me crazy. They're all like hard rock or like rap to get hyped up. I listen to like classical music. Experience is a really good one that I really like. I don't know. There's something about just paying attention to instruments. I think my teammates have seen me hyped up only a few times. I'm not one to get really hyped. Once discus comes around, though, I mean, it'll be a different story. But I'm more so about staying calm and sort of like not thinking too much. So just enjoying the moment, enjoying the butterflies. And yeah, that's sort of just enjoy the moment. So music that helps me just be at peace is what I like listening to.
what's your go-to quote you grew up with?
I'd say there's a few good ones that I think I grew up with that I would always repeat a lot. I think my biggest one that I've recently gone back to a lot is slow success builds character, fast success builds ego. So don't pray for it to come quick. Instead, pray that you have the wisdom to make it stick. I think that quote there was very helpful solely because everyone wants things quick nowadays and with athletics especially, you just want it now. So you just got to stick with it and practice and keep on just not trying to rush everything.
I know we talked a lot about track and field, and I know you mentioned you have like some other athletic abilities, basketball and other stuff like that. Are there any like surprising hobbies or talents that you have that you kind of practice outside of your time doing track and field?
I say chess. A lot of people don't take me as a chess player. I'm not super good or anything. I had a teammate who's like 1800 elo. We played in high school. He crushed me, but it's just cool to just have the strategy aspect of it. Video games, but I feel like every athlete plays video games. It's a great resting activity. But yeah, I think chess is the main surprising one, or reading. I do like reading as well. So people just see a big 6'6" kid. They don't assume that he plays chess or reads. So I feel like that's the most surprising.
What types of books do you read?
Sort of like books that teach me certain business skills. Like I have a couple here. I think my first book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I have How to Listen with Intent, and then a lot of audiobooks as well. So that's sort of like the books I read. I don't like fiction genre. It gets too confusing and I can't follow along.
Do you have any advice for anyone that's watching or anyone that is wanting to like follow into what you're doing?
I'd say my one advice is don't compare yourself to others' journeys. I see people do it a lot. Some of my teammates do it as well. So I think that's my biggest thing is I try to tell them just don't compare yourself to anybody because you can't even compare yourself to yourself a year ago or when you're at your best because the learning process is weird. So you can be good at something, but when you learn it, you're going to go down because you're learning. But then once you get it, you're going to skyrocket up. So can't really compare yourself in your journey because you never know what can happen on any given day. Just show up, compete. Who knows? Don't compare yourself to others.